Good evening, folks. Welcome back to the channel. It's good to see you. I hope you're doing well. Quarter-final time for us over in the Netherlands and in Germany. We'll be sure to touch on each and every one of these games for us today. See if there's anything we like the look of as we go along. Be sure to get your best bets in the comments. Get yourself involved. As always, if there's anything I'm going for personally, that will be in the pinned comment too. Before we get started, I'm going to ask you to like the video, get yourself subscribed to the channel if you're not. Appreciate it if you did. We continue to grow each and every day. Very well then. Now that's out the way. As always, first things first, how did we manage to get on yesterday? I'll go first. 1-1 for me on the bets yesterday. I had Humbert to win, Opelka to take a set, easy as you like. I then had Alexei Popperin and Brandon Khachanov both to win. What are you going to do? Anyone watch that Popperin game with Bergs? It weren't of the highest quality, I'll be honest with you. It had either way written on it from the get-go. I can certainly live with that. It could have been a lot worse. Could have been a little bit better. 1-1 puts me to 5-2 on the past 4 days, and I will most certainly take that. You are not going to find me complaining whatsoever. But let me know, did you win, did you lose, did you just come close? Now that's out the way, we will get started over in Germany. So first off, got Justin Engel, Felix Auger, Aliassime. Hands up who thought Justin Engel was going to beat Alex Michelsen today. I was a little bit surprised, but I did say, the kid was deceivingly good. Didn't think he was going to get it done in straight sets, mind you. Well, that's exactly what he done. You've got to give him credit for that. Thought Felix looked decent enough against Gio. I don't even know if that's saying much, because I did say, didn't I, like, Mpechi Pericard looks so bad. He looks so bad in that first game. How he managed to win that is beyond me. Bumped into Felix, didn't take a set. I know a lot of people had the over 2.5 sets in that Gio for a set, what have you. 6-4, 6-4 from Felix. The exact same as what Justin Engel done to Alex Michelsen. Justin Engel has got an extra game under his belt. He is playing at home. He's got nothing to lose. This is house money for him, innit? House money. This kid probably didn't even expect himself to get this far. I'd say, if it was anyone else, I'd probably say you'd fancy yourself, as you probably would. You can get past Alex Michelsen. I don't know why you wouldn't be able to get past Felix. Felix, I'd say he looked a little bit better, but like I've just said, it was against Gio, and Gio didn't look that great, so I don't know how much weight that holds. Didn't have the greatest clay campaign, to say the least. 3-6 on the clay for Felix. Just an angle on the points again. Getting Aliassime barely 1.2. Barely 1.2. If you can get like 3.5, maybe just buy a point. 4.5. Just an angle, just go for it. 4.5, just an angle, why not? He's still here. 1.2. You know what I always say, for those that are new, let me enlighten you. 1.2 to 1.3. That's exactly the price you pay for Felix to ruin your day. Always. Now, I'm not saying he definitely loses this, because he is most definitely favoured to win it, obviously. But I wouldn't be going anywhere near this guy. Not at that price. Am I expecting him to win? Kind of. Would I be totally shocked if Engel was to pull off the upset here? Maybe not. Do I think he can potentially keep it close? Absolutely. You let me know what you're going for on that one. And we will move on to Martin Fuscovics and Taylor Fritz. Should be a good one. Should be a fairly interesting one indeed. Getting Taylor Fritz around 1.5. We having that? Anyone taking that? Not too bad. I mean, it's half your parlay right there, right? I think Taylor Fritz looked a lot more promising coming onto the grass. He did play Quinton Hallis, who he had previously beaten on the clay when he weren't playing that great. So once again, how much weight that holds, I am not so certain. But a win's a win. win's a win, and it is most definitely an improvement on the last time out in the French Open first round exit against Daniel Altmaier. Oh, I know. He'll be trying his best to forget about that, put that one behind him. I imagine Martin Fuscovics continues to look solid. As we mentioned at the start, weren't so convinced coming through qualifying, and he's most definitely turned up the heat come the main draw straight sets against Yannick Hanfmann and the same against Artur Rinderknech. Solid as you like. I do think Martin Fuscovics possesses the ability to beat Taylor Fritz. He actually beat Taylor Fritz in this very tournament 2 years ago, 6-4, 7-5. Other than that, Taylor Fritz has won the other the first two matches rather. Head-to-head being 2-1 to the American, not seeing each other for 2 years. Yeah, at first glance, you just fancy Taylor Fritz to get this one done, as he should be winning the majority of his matches. But as we've seen the past couple of months, these wins have been few and far between. You really have. Fuscovics is no joke. He's no joke. You give him a chance, he will definitely punish you. No doubt about that. It's 2.8, 2.9. That's not a bad dog, that, you know. He is not a bad dog. 4 games under his belt on the grass as opposed to the one for Fritz, and he did look alright, but I watched Quinton Hallis play Sonego before that match, and to quote GSP, I wasn't impressed with your performance. Maybe look at an over spot. An over? I don't know. Fuscovics on the point. I would expect Taylor Fritz to have just enough to edge this one out, if anything. I maybe wouldn't bet on the over 2.5 sets, because Taylor Fritz could easily just come out here and win this in straight sets. But as we've seen a couple years ago, it was Fuscovics who was doing the straight set victory. So I feel like they're begging you to take Taylor Fritz, and we'll just leave it at that. I feel like they are on the knees begging you to take Taylor Fritz in this spot. I'm not so sure. It could be a trap. I'd like to think he can get this one done. Like I said, he should be winning this. He should. And that's not against Fuscovics. He's a really good player. But Taylor Fritz, he's still in the number 10. He's still in the top 10. Number 7 now. Martin Fuscovics isn't even in the top 100. Realistically, you should be winning that game the majority of the time. But we know the grass works in mysterious ways, and so does the ATP Tour, so they approach that one with severe caution. One moment. Yeah. And then we'll move on to Zverev and Binach. It's been an interesting one. Should be a little bit more interesting than the game today. You just knew he was going to beat Mutet today. I can't believe I had people telling me that Mutet was the right play to make. What? It's mad. Look, this is the beauty of this channel. We all have our different opinions, Maybe not myself, but I know a lot of us, we consume all sorts of different tennis media, don't we? And I don't know where you got that one from. I'll just say it right now. I'm not one to brag. We're in a bad shout, by any stretch of the imagination. It is what it is. Mutet on the point. I understood it to an extent, but telling me Zverev was just the wrong pick there was that was a bit of a stinker, that one, where you've got to own up to that. I think he gets past Binach as well. I do. If you hated yesterday's pick, you'll hate this one just as much. I do think Brandon Nakashima will should prove a bit of a better, tougher test than Corentin Mutet, if you want my opinion on it. He's looked fairly solid as well. He looked good against Jacob Fairley, come back after dropping the first set, and then got it done against Leonard Tien with relative ease. And that was another one. People saying Brandon Nakashima was the wrong way to go. Okay then. Look, it was a close match. It was tie-break in the first 6-3, but I was never really in doubt that he was going to get that one done. There's just levels. When you get two Americans going at it on the grass, especially outside of America, you've got to take the older, more experienced one, 9 times out of 10. Think he can beat Zverev? I think he can. I think he can, even though he's never beaten before. Never really come close to beating him before. He's taken a set or two off him in the past. These played each other last year in the US Open. That obviously went the way of Zverev. Twice on the hard court, once on the clay, never on the grass. So it does make things a little bit more interesting, you have to admit. Anyone know what that spread is for Binach? Anyone taking Binach on the points? I don't really fancy taking Zverev at 1.2. Oh, but he's 1.35 at Betfair. That's a lot better. 1.35 is a lot better than 1.2. It's not ideal. It's not ideal. I'm not 1.2, 1.3 certain. He just goes out there and dog walks Brandon Nakashima. Could get a tiebreaker in this. Binach serves well. Could be in for a long one. We could. But then again, I wouldn't bank on it. I really wouldn't. These have only ever played each other in Grand Slams. How did I not notice that? Twice in the US Open, once in the French Open. It stays the same. Like I said, I'm probably going to stay away from it, like I did yesterday. But Zverev would be the pick to end up victorious at the end of this and advance through to the semi-finals. I don't really see why he wouldn't. And then wrapping us up in Germany, we've got Ben Shelton and Yuri Lehecka. I think I'm probably looking forward to this one the most out of Stuttgart today. Maybe out of the lot, I don't know. Never played each other before, to my surprise. I think Yuri Lehecka's looked good. I said it prior to the match against Struff when he played Benjamin Bonzi. I thought he looked really good, played a very strong game, and played just as good, if not better, against Jan-Lennard Struff. Now that was another one, there was a lot of concerns around that one. We did say, I understood that Struff over in Germany, we did mention he comes to play, but we did say ultimately Yuri Lehecka should be winning that one. How's he going to get on against Ben Shelton? Quite the step up in class from his previous two opponents, to say the least. I thought Ben Shelton looked decent against their Pierre Hughes as well. Decent enough, tiebreaker in 7-5. Pierre Hughes, some people might be looking at that if you don't know too much and go, that doesn't look too great. This Frenchman's hard to fucking play against, man. Serve volley, that's it. Serve volley. And when that first serve goes in on this grass, you're pretty much going to follow up with the volley after it. It is what it is, You're not getting a lot of meat on the bone coming up against an opponent like that. But he managed to grind it out, get it done straight set. Good shit from Ben Shelton. I think this could be an overspot as well. I really could. I think Lehecka's got more than enough to deal with the game of Ben Shelton, but I do think Shelton's game most definitely suits the grass. It does. Maybe just a little bit more than Lehecka, if anything. Should be enough 3 points behind the Shelton serve to at least get him a set anyway. At least get him a set while the odds are split right down the middle. And getting Yuri Lehecka at a very slight favourite here. I quite like it as well, You know me, I am quite the fan of Yuri Lehecka. If we were over in the States, I'd probably have a different opinion. While we're in Europe on the grass, does that change things enough for me? I don't know. I'm not stupid. I am more than aware of how deadly Ben Shelton can be on the day. I think it's a winnable spot for both of them. It really is. I don't think it's cut and dry. There's a clear-cut winner in this. Either one for a set. Maybe do lean on an over on this. Total games played. I don't know. The choice is yours. Choice is entirely yours, folks. You let me know. Yeah, you pay your money. You take your choice. As far as a lean, maybe just go with Lehecka. I don't know. I'd lean with Lehecka. I feel like he can be a little bit more versatile from the baseline when he needs to be. I don't know. I wouldn't be picking him with much conviction, folks. Not at all. So you approach that with a little bit of caution. And we will move on into Den Bosch and we'll wrap this shit up. First off, we've got Nuno Borges. Excuse me, if you will. Nuno Borges, Humbert. Head to head is one apiece for these two. They played each other last year. That went the way of Nuno Borges over in Canada. 2-1. There was 2 tiebreakers in that too. And then Humbert won the first match over on the Challenger 2022, both on the hard court. Doesn't mean much coming into this. What do you want me to say? What do you want me to say about Humbert? I told you, didn't I? I wanted to take him. I knew he'd win. He should always be beating Dan Evans. I did say I'm a little bit sceptical when it comes to taking him. I am a big Humbert fan. Weren't too sure how he was going to turn up after the clay. But I think it's safe to say Dan Evans managed to he started getting a grip of him as the match went on. He just got outclassed ultimately. Thought Humbert most definitely came to play. He looked very inspired. He looked more than ready to put that clay season behind him, if you ask me. To an extent, I kinda like what I saw. I kinda do. But it's going to be even tougher, this one. It's going to be even tougher. I mean, it was a fairly routine win against Dan Evans, 7-5, 6-3. He looked decent. He did. But Borges will be a lot tougher. There's no doubt about that. He hasn't even played either. He beat Nishesh first round. Got the walkover against Otto Virtanen. Like we said, rest up Otto. Blew his fucking knee out, didn't he, sliding like that. He has beaten most recently on the hard court. That is a lot different than the grass, as we know. Look, the same stands for this one. I want Humbert to win. I want this guy to win. Does that mean I think he's going to win? Not necessarily. This could be an overspot too. Like I always say, Borges, he loves to drop a set. He loves to drop a set. Even when he wins his matches, he doesn't mind dropping a set in them too. Based on what I've seen today against Dan Evans, I probably would just go with Humbert, but maybe that's just me being biased. I'm not 100% convinced he goes out there and gets this one done. I'd say as easily. It weren't that easy against Dan Evans. It weren't. Borges, has he been thrown out of his stride a little bit, getting the walkover? Maybe. Will he benefit from the rest? Perhaps. Don't really know till the day. 1.5 for Humbert. Look, it was round about this last time, and yesterday, and I took it around 1.4 something, I don't know. And then when I got home from work, it was like 1.3, 1.33. I imagine this could very well be more of the same. Anyone taking Borges, each or either way? Do let me know. Be very interested to know your input on that one. But we'll leave it there, and we'll move on to Diallo, Khachanov. Interesting, very interesting to say the least. Who remembers this one? In the Australian Open, start of the year, that went the way of the Russian, as did the other two before that in 2024. All of them coming on the hard court. 3-0 to Khachanov is the head-to-head. Think he wins this one? Do you think he extends it to 4? It's very possible. Very possible. He struggled with Mackenzie McDonald, didn't he? He really did. We said he was a bit of value in McDonald there. He put in a really good performance. You've got to give him that. 6-3, 5-7, and then a tie-break in the third set to Khachanov. Good shit. Nonetheless, I think Gabe Diallo might be a little bit better. Might just be a little bit better at the current day than a Mackenzie McDonald. He looked fairly decent against Vukic. And then he pulled off the upset against Jordan Thompson, even though we knew he had a very good chance at doing so. Maybe he's just smoking the Australians. I don't know. Maybe he bunts into Khachanov today in the best of 3 and he just gets walked. I don't know. I like Gabe Diallo. I think he can impose a very strong and solid game on more or less anyone. I think we've seen him come on a little bit over the past few months. There was that little stint he had over in Madrid. No one expected that. He could very well just be on for a nice little run over in Den Bosch too. I would not put it past him. Tough to break, man. Big guy. big guy, big serve, powerful shots as well. Khachanov, a lot more seasoned. There's a lot more salt and pepper on this guy. No doubt about that. There's not much to go off as far as previous grass records. 1-3 last season for Khachanov, 3-4 for Diallo, 5-5 the year before. Very, very small sample sizes indeed. Does make it a little bit tougher than what it needs to be. I wouldn't mind taking Diallo for a set. Decent dog, 2.5. You're getting Khachanov at 1.5. You pay your money, you take your choice. Wouldn't mind taking Diallo for a set. I wouldn't. Is it an official pick from me? Maybe. It's not a bad parlay piece. If I'm taking it, it'll obviously be in the pinned comments. If it's there, it's there. If it's not, it's not. I don't know. I might need to just look into this one a little bit more while I'm in work tonight, and then I'll assess the situation come tomorrow morning. But I wouldn't be surprised if that goes over. I wouldn't. Over the 2.5 sets, Diallo for a set. Khachanov probably should be winning. I'm not even going to say he should be winning it. You'd expect him to get this one done on experience alone, but like I said, Gabe Diallo's no joke. He turns up when he comes to play, and I like that. I appreciate that about this lad. We'll see what happens. We'll see how he gets on. And then we've got 2 more. Shouldn't take much longer. We've got Daniel Medvedev, Riley Opelka. I was happy with Riley Opelka today. He dropped his serve in the first set against Nicholas Yarry, and I thought, oh my god, here we go. Set over, you're not getting that back. Got it back straight away. Played a really solid tiebreaker too, and just swept him under the rug. Dusted him aside in the second set. Straight sets for Riley Opelka. Happy days. Say something about that. Fairly decent against Manarino. Medvedev, that is, today. Straight sets against him. I'd say I expected nothing less. Could have been a little bit of a banana peel. 7-6, obviously a tiebreaker in the first, and then 6-4 in the second. Very close. Anyone take Manarino on the spread? Well done. I didn't. I don't know why I was doing that, but well done to you if you did. I think Medvedev should be winning this. This is one where I'd say he probably should. Head-to-head is 4-1 to Daniel Medvedev in this spot. Riley Opelka beat him once, 2020, over on the indoor hard court. Apart from that, Medvedev's won all the others. Never played on the grass. Makes it a little bit more interesting, to say the least. It's just a complete contrast in styles, innit? You know what you're going to get from both on the day. If both of them turn up and play the best, I'd obviously back Medvedev to beat the majority of people, but Riley Opelka's no joke, and we've said time and time again over on the grass this week, these big servers, it works well for them. It works wonders for them. The balls just skid right off the surface. If you can serve well, there's enough 3 points in this for you to at least extend this game into a long one. If Adrian Manarino's getting a tiebreaker out of Medvedev, I'd fancy Opelka to just come out and serve his way, at least to a long game. Fancy him to keep it close, would you say? What are the odds? 1.3 for Medvedev. Steep. 1.2 to 1.3 roundabout, depending where you look. Very, very steep indeed. Opelka on the points anyway? Anyone? Listen to me. Opelka on the points against Medvedev? I don't know. Maybe I'm getting brave. Maybe I'm flying too close to the sun here, folks. He didn't get through qualifying. Once again, he didn't get through qualifying. How much more can we expect from Riley Opelka? He got past De Jong, happy days. Could have went either way against Nicholas Yarry, and he looked even better in that one. If he turns up to play and he can put that serve in, I'm expecting maybe a tiebreaker. There's not a lot you can do with that serve of Riley Opelka. Not only that, if you do manage to reserve it, you just give him an absolute floater at the net, don't you? First set over, total game's over, something like that. Riley Opelka for a set, ultimately Daniel Medvedev on the money line to just edge it out however which way he wants to go about it. And then we'll wrap this shit up with Bergs and Mark Lajal. Now, obviously, these have never played each other before. Very, very close on the odds. It's almost split right down the middle. Slight favourite to Bergs at the moment. Call it 1.8. He looked alright against Alexander Blocks. It took the 3 sets to get past him, but he got the win in the end. And same today against Popperin. Good stuff. Can't fault it, like I say, you're not going to catch me complaining. There was no damage done for me. It was such a scruffy game. The scruffiest game, and the amount of double faults and unforced errors. Look, it was very entertaining. I will give it that. It was very entertaining, but fuck me, it was very subpar. Very subpar from both sides of the net. I can't remember the last time I watched a game where the quality was that poor from both players. You know, it was a proper close one. It couldn't have been any closer. You thought it was over multiple times, especially for Alexei Popperin. In that last set, he got broke, didn't he? And then Bergs was serving for the match, and then he ended up breaking back, getting a tiebreaker. He just kept filling me with hope. He kept filling me with a little bit of hope. Ultimately, Bergs come out victorious in the end. But like I said, I don't think neither one played well. I wasn't impressed with either player. Far from it. Mark Lajal, on the other hand, we kind of knew he was going to beat Laslo Djere. That's exactly what he done. He's yet to drop a set. Maybe that's not that fair to say. He didn't get to play against Lehecka due to the walkover. Very, very slight dog. The slightest of dogs in this one. How is Bergs going to hold up after his previous 2 matches? That was a fucking war. That was a dog fight against Alexei Popperin. It was the scruffiest, dirtiest dog fight you're probably ever going to see. Personally, I can't see him getting any better. I can't see him getting any better as this tournament gets on. He was okay against Blocks, like I say, 3 sets. And he was just okay. He weren't even okay. He played a very below par game against Popperin. Popperin was just worse on the day. Neither one could hold the serve. Neither one of them could hold the fucking piss in for half an hour in this game. Or even for just one service game. The amount of breaks there and there and back and forth all the way through the match. Yeah, weren't very convinced at all. Mark Lajal, I'd have liked to have seen him play Hubie. Would he have beat him? I'm not too sure. We all know Hubie was struggling, obviously, with his injury that he sustained towards the end of the Batista Ragu match. So he did the right thing and pull out there, like one of the boys said in the comments. I always say myself, if you can't play, then don't play. Simple as that. Don't turn up and just shit the game away because you're injured. It makes no fucking sense. Just don't play. Don't make it hard. Don't make it worse for yourself. I can respect that. Well done to Hubie. Mark Lajal, nice and rested. I think he'll bring it. I think he'll give it to Bergs today. I really do. So the last thing you're going to need, Mark Lajal looked electric against Laslo Djere. He looked like he had bags of energy, bags and bags of it, navigates that court really well, very, very agile. If Bergs plays the way he did against Popperin and the way he did against Alexander Blocks, I can't help but think he may just struggle against Mark Lajal. Just me. I don't know. I don't fancy getting burned once again on Bergs. Like I say, I don't mind him. I think he's a decent player. Much more prefer him on the hard court. Lajal for a set, anyone? Maybe taking over again. Maybe just taking over again. That does seem to be the winning formula this week over on the grass. I will let you decide on that one. I'll probably take Lajal for a set like I did against Laslo Djere. Very slight dog. Very slight dog. I feel like you may see a little bit of dough come in on that overnight. But then again, what the fuck do I know? That's going to do us, folks. That is going to do us. Appreciate you stopping by. As always, it means a lot to me. Get yourself subscribed if you're not. Like the video as well. It means a lot. We nearly got 100 likes, I think, on last night's video. Fucking spot on. Very happy with that. I don't think that's ever happened before. Very happy with the growth. We'll be exactly where we want to be sooner than later. I am certain of that, folks. We just stick with each other, yeah. We go together like fucking Danny and Sandy. But anyway, you take care of yourselves, yeah. Take it easy. Take care of one another. It's the most important thing. Best bet in the comments. Doesn't matter what for. Anything I'm going will be in there also. I'll be saying good night to you once again. Let's enjoy the matches, yeah. Stay positive. Stay beautiful. Let's go get that cash. See you tomorrow.